Hello, I'm Marie from Marie's Scrappy Creations.
And I'm Adam from Adam Sews.
And we thought it would be fun to get together today, sew together and chat and let you guys listen in. So how fun is that? What are you working on today, Adam?
I am working on the Out and About by Annie rucksack, backpack.
Oh, very nice. Yeah, rucksack. See, that must be a British term, maybe?
Oh, what, backpack?
Yeah, because we call it a backpack.
Yeah, rucksack. I think rucksack must be a British term because it's never on. It always says backpack on the patterns.
But you think of it as a rucksack, don't you?
Oh no, actually, this one says knapsack.
Oh yeah, because see, I've heard knapsack too, but I think that's an older term, possibly.
Possibly.
I'm just working on something simple. I'm making 9-patch blocks that I will then be quilting and turning into, of course I don't have it right here, just simple tote bags like this. And if I run out, I'm making pot holders because it's autumn and I'm using autumn scraps.
I need to get some pot holders made.
You need to get what made?
Some pot holders from your
tutorial. Yeah.
Do you find it funny that everything in my room that I sew is like leery and bright colours, and you've always got an autumnal?
I really tend to do that. I noticed that, but I also noticed that you love Tula.
Yep.
Now, see, anyone watching your channel knows you love Tula. So, how long have you been a Tula fan?
Not that long. So I have sewn for a long time, but I only started quilting about 2 years ago.
Ah, okay.
So even though I've sewn since I was for like the last 15, 16 years, I've only started quilting in the last couple.
I see. Well, I didn't own any Tula fabric until a friend of mine sent me some from Australia, and then you sent me some, which I'm going to make into a beautiful wallet as soon as I have the wallet pattern down pat. I don't want to ruin the fabric, you know. So
yeah, this is the first thing, this backpack is the first thing that I've actually made myself out of Tula, apart from my slippers.
Oh, did I tell you? I know I told you that I bought a Tula rotary cutter, and that the case of it, you know how it comes in the metallic case or aluminum, whatever it is, and it has that little plastic window in it.
Yeah.
So you know what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
I ordered one from Amazon, and I thought the price was pretty good. Now, there's probably a reason for that. So when it came in, there was a couple of dings, little dents in the metal part of the carrying case, or whatever you'd call it. But even more distressing than that was the whole plastic window was scratched up. Now, I was going to put it on that messy shelf behind me and kind of display the case.
Yeah.
Because that's what I wanted to do, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I sent it back to Amazon and I told them what the issue was. So they said, well, we won't give you a refund. We'll just send you a new one. And I said, okay, that's great. I said, maybe you might want to package it up a bit differently. I think that if it had more protection, it wouldn't get as banged up.
Yeah.
They sent me another one and it was worse than the first.
And the thing is that they're not cheap.
No.
They're a premium tool, so you expect to get.
Right, but the difference here, and I'm thinking this is what it is, Adam, is they're about $20 cheaper on Amazon than they are on the Tula website.
Yeah.
So when I called the second time and told them what happened, the guy was not very nice about it. And he basically told me not to order another one. They didn't want me to order another one. He really did too. They don't want me to order another one because I guess what they're saying is it's going to keep coming like that.
Yeah, it's not acceptable, especially if it's not being sold as seconds or
That was exactly my thought. If I have something that I've sewn and it's not perfect, I'm going to tell someone, I'll give you $10 off this because there's this mistake or that mistake. Speaking of mistakes, are you unpicking?
No. I am.
Okay, I saw that.
No, I caught the zip on my binding.
Oh,
This is the problem with these wide zips. They attach themselves into things that you don't want to.
is it a number 5 zip?
It is.
Yeah.
But they if this is the thing, when you're trying to attach binding to a zip, it throws it all off.
Sure.
Because you wouldn't normally put a zip on the very, very edge of a pocket and then bind the zip. So yeah, it does.
Well, you're going, even unpicking, you're doing better than I am. Zippers on a curve aren't my favorite. I will do them. I have done them.
Yeah.
They probably don't look very professional, but they're done. Now,
so this is where it's going around the whole, it goes around this whole curve section.
Oh yes.
And then you.
Now, do you use clips or pins?
Neither.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I tend to find I get a better finish if I just apply it as I
work it as it goes. Yeah.
Because I can manipulate it better.
Sure. Well, that does make sense. Now, see, when I put in a straight zipper, a lot of times, to be honest, I don't use pins. I might, like when I'm making that open wide zippered bag that I make a lot of times, I have to stop 1.25 inches from the end. So I'll put a pin in there to mark my stop point. But otherwise, like you say, you can manipulate it. And so when you're on a straightaway, it's just simple. So, but if I'm making a tutorial, I tend to pin it. And I tell people, especially if they're new to zippers, I personally don't understand how anyone can use one of those wonder clips and keep a zipper in place, because you have to take it out before you get to it. So you may as well not have anything there holding it, because there's nothing there holding it.
Exactly. I find that the easiest way for a zip, if you haven't got a lot of experience, is literally running a tiny little bit of fabric glue. Mm-hmm. And then pressing your zip, and then stitching.
Yeah, and I have some of that. Well, it's not zipper tape; it's that.
Wonder tape.
Wonder tape. Thank you.
Yeah, that does work well. The wonder tape.
It does, and when I first started zippers, I used that all the time.
Yeah.
But it gave me the confidence to think I could do it.
Yeah. Wonder tape is really good for putting zips into stretchy fabrics.
I bet. Now, see, I've never done that. You got me there. I would never do it. No,
I don't do it often.
What's that?
I wouldn't put a zip in stretchy fabric every day.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure.
So if you were making a quilt, or depending on what you're making, what would make you choose which batting?
Okay, personally, when I first started quilting, all I used was polyester because I didn't know any better. Mm-hmm. I mean, I really didn't. I had books. I didn't have internet, so I didn't know. Well, this was before internet. It was the 80s. I used polyester. It was cheap, and I thought that's just what you were supposed to use. But now I prefer cotton, but there are instances I will use polyester or polyester blend. And those times being, if I'm making a baby quilt, I usually use the cotton poly blend because it washes better.
Yeah, see, that's what I use, is the 80-20.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you find that, I don't know how often you've worked with just straight polyester, the biggest issue for me is that it pokes out through the fabric.
Yeah, and I just don't like the fact that it's got no weight to it.
Yeah, there's nothing. There's nothing. Yeah.
It's like popcorn.
Yeah, you have to quilt it closer together, which depending on if a person likes to quilt or not, may or may not be a problem. But it's lumpy. And there again, that's why I say with a baby quilt that's being washed a lot, those lumps would appear so much quicker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thing is as well is nowadays you can get cotton, you can get bamboo, you can get soy, you can get.
Yeah.
I mean, what is soy, Batten?
Yeah.
I've never
Have
had
you
such.
tried bamboo though? I haven't.
I haven't,
I'm
and I've used bamboo lycra, like cotton
Sure.
jersey equivalent,
Yeah.
T-shirts and things, and it is stunning to use. It's so
Interesting.
soft and it's more sustainable. There's less water involved in growing it. There's less water involved with the processing.
Yes. Oh, yes, because cotton is extremely. I mean, every time I buy a new T-shirt, I feel cotton guilt.
Yeah, I do too, and it's frustrating as well because the price of cotton is going through the roof.
Yes. Yeah.
But then, see, the thing is as well is a lot of people now buy viscose for clothing.
Yeah.
And viscose is a much more sustainable fiber to produce, but the downside to it is it uses thousands and thousands of liters of water to create with
I was
viscose.
just going to ask that. Yeah.
So it's a catch-22 really, because it's easy it's the environmental impact of it.
Yeah. And you know, years ago I didn't hear about any of this. I didn't know about it, but once you know something, you can't hide your head in the sand anymore and pretend you didn't know. At least, I mean, I just can't do it.
And you do feel an element of responsibility. I mean, I feel an element of responsibility with how much, with if I throw away scraps, which is why I like to use them for things, because I think the only thing that I used to throw away really was selvage edges, which now I seem to keep because I want to make it some sort of selvage.
Exactly.
Because the main reason being is I use a lot of Tula pink fabric, and the selvages are so beautiful.
I was just gonna say, I bet her selvages are awesome too. Colorful.
Yeah. I mean, some of them have got little crayons on the side of them, which have got the different colour, the print in, and it's a completely different selvage to your bog standard quilting cotton.
Right. Well, I was just going to say that too. I just started about a year and a half ago saving selvages, and I threw so many away over the years. But of course, I have some that just show, of course, they all show the colors, the gradients of color that they use in the fabric. But some of them, like you say with crayons, they're more creative.
They're decorative, aren't they, some of them?
Yes, and not just Tula, but quite a few of the other manufacturers do it, because I had them that had balloons and, you know, like say it was, you know, fireflies or something, they would have all the colors and
And they are stunning.
Sorry?
Some of them are really pretty.
Yes. And there's so many projects that I can think of to use selvages for. I had a subscriber ask me in the comments under a video where we had spoken about selvages, and she said, "What do you plan to use your selvages for?" And I'm thinking, I don't know, I'm just saving them. No. I really actually think I want to make a tote bag for myself, because that's what I use as a purse, and I think that would be just absolutely awesome.
It would look good.
Yeah. So.
Oh, we have bound one edge, Marie. We have bound one edge.
Oh, let me see.
3 more to go.
3 more to go. Well, hey.
That's the front pocket finished.
Oh, wow. There you go. I love that. Looks so nice. That fabric looks so nice.
But it's a bag within a bag. That's that binding done for that piece. I now do the binding for the other side of it.
Now, when you sew your binding, do you sew it one side, flip it and sew it, or do you sew it all together as you folded it over the piece and you sew it down as one?
I do a double fold binding.
Okay.
So I have it cut in a bias on the bias, I then fold it in on itself so it's wrong sides together so that it's that wide.
Yep.
I then stitch 1/4 inch down that side, then I flip.
And then you flip it. Yeah. So the first way that's how I would do it, but I don't, you're more professional on that stuff than I am. So.
Well, I've got pre-made bias tape, which is, the strip with the 2 edges folded inwards.
I do too. Yeah. I've never used it, but I have a lot of it.
It's the finish on it's just not nice.
Yeah. I have a friend who goes to yard sales, secondhand stores and things like that. And I had told her that I was really looking to get rickrack. And she thought I meant bias tape. And I have a brown paper grocery bag full of different colors. And I'm not kidding, a grocery bag full. So I am going to find a use for that stuff. But a lot of it, unfortunately, is so thin, you can see through it. Even like a green color is.
Yeah, it's not good.
But
well, I have a Scottish friend, and she says that you can shoot peas through it.
Shoot peas through it. There you go.
That's what she says.
But
anytime someone's selling cheap fabric, and you look at it and you can shoot peas through that.
I like that saying. That will stick in my head. But bias tape can be used for so many different things. Now, when I was growing up, late 60s, early 70s, my mom made a lot of our clothes. And she made our Barbie doll clothes and our baby doll clothes and all that. She used a lot of the binding. I can remember it being on the inside of our shirts or at the bottom of the hem on the pants or the skirts. So I would imagine that for those uses, what comes in the package might be passable and it might be okay, but you sew clothing. Yeah. So what would you say? Is that more what you think it's for?
It is more aimed at clothing, garment construction. Because you wouldn't want to use it. It's durable enough for garments because it's lighter. Yeah. It has less weight to it, so you're not going to get you're not going to have a collar rolling down on it, like a neckline rolling down. Sure. Because the weight behind it. Yeah. But for anything that needs a bit more durability, like a bag or a quilt, the same as how you would bind a quilt edge. Yeah. It wouldn't wear very well.
It wouldn't. It
fray and it tear and.
Yeah. Now you say you've made quilts and things like that, and we're talking about binding. So I just have to ask. I have a friend who constantly she will not make a separate binding. She will pull the backing over the front. I've done it before when I first started on baby quilts and such, but I am a firm believer that that's going to wear out rather quickly. And if it does, you're when you do a separate binding, if it wore out, you just slap another binding on there.
Yeah.
Do you think the same? Do you have an opinion on that as well?
I think I would always choose to do a separate binding because I like to use my binding as a feature as well.
Yes, it frames it. It frames your quilt.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And it also it gives you a really crisp, firm edge.
It does.
It makes it easier.
Bias, a nice sharp corner. Who doesn't want that?
Yeah. And you can't get that by rolling it back on itself.
No. Because I've tried. I've made quilts like that. Like I say, when I first started, it was like, oh, that seems easy. Let's just try that. But I've also always been a person who likes things to look nice. And if I've put a lot of work into them, I want them to show it.
Yeah, I agree.
It's where pride comes in. So you have a nice setup there in your sewing room, Adam. Looks really nice. Like you have a whole nice room set up there.
Yeah, it's actually our dining room.
Oh, is it? I thought it was like a spare bedroom or something.
I was in the spare bedroom, but I outgrew it.
Oh.
Very quickly.
But no, I meant by the look of it. It looks like maybe it was a spare bedroom, just because I can see a door in the background and I'm pointing.
Oh, that's the door to our lounge.
Oh, okay.
Which is handy because it's not so far for cups of tea to come from the kitchen.
Oh, absolutely. When you're sewing, sure.
I had, up until recently, I had a doorbell in here.
A doorbell for, oh, I suppose because it was the dining room.
No, I had a separate doorbell next to my sewing machine that I used to press, and my husband would make me tea.
You wouldn't be spoiled, would you? A little bit?
A little bit.
A little bit. I like that. That's cute. That is cute.
He didn't mind. It was his idea.
Oh, well, there. Yeah.
Because I get carried away and I can be in here for hours and hours. And
Oh, sure.
I eat, I forget to drink, I forget to do all sorts.
Yeah. Well, I say that all the time. I'd get a whole lot more done if we didn't have to eat.
Oh, or sleep. I mean, who needs sleep?
I mean, yeah, how dare it get in the way?
That is the most pointless thing in the world.
Yeah, but I have found, I get up 2, 3 o'clock in the morning most times, and I have found that that works well for me because the phone isn't ringing and this and that isn't happening. So I get more done when I get up early in the morning.
I would happily get up at that time, but because I live in a terraced cottage.
What's that?
And my machines are quite noisy because this one especially because it's a semi-industrial. Right. I would just keep my neighbours awake all the time, and it would drive them nuts.
Okay, so I have to stop you and say that must be a British term or terms. What is a terraced cottage? I don't know what. A cottage to me is a little house by a lake or something, and terraced would be something with a porch.
Right, okay, so a terraced house or a terraced cottage or a terraced whatever is a house that's sandwiched between other houses.
Okay.
So you see your drawers behind you?
Yeah.
That little one in the middle is me.
The white one?
The one that you see, you've got the 3 drawers along the top. If they were houses, they would be terrace houses.
Oh, okay, I gotcha. Yeah.
Because they're together in a block.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I'm sure I'm not the only one, because anyone in America wouldn't have understood what you meant by that. So I figured I'd ask the question for everyone.
Yeah, so
English is not always English everywhere, right? So do you keep snacks in your sewing room so that you don't have to leave? Like
maybe.
We both have candy. What is yours? I couldn't see because I was laughing.
Skittles.
Skittles. Oh yeah. See, I have the caramel.
These are giant ones. Look at the size of those.
Wow, I was gonna say that does look like a big Skittle. Holy cow.
Yeah.
Wow. I haven't had Skittles forever, not like I need them, but lately I have been into those Sour Patch Kids. Those are pretty good.
Oh, I love those.
Oh, I
They're
love
my
those.
favorite American candy.
Though they had the last time we bought some, we bought the big bag because then you can just put a few in a little baggie, and it's cheaper to buy them that way. But all they had was it was called Big Kids, and they were huge, like this. So, but the blue ones are my favorite. So the blue Sour Patch.
Blue ones are the best, and then the red ones.
Yeah, well, no, orange would be second for me because usually orange is my favorite, but blue. But yeah, you got to have a snack in the sewing room.
Do you like? I like Swedish fish as well.
Seriously, it's down in another drawer. You can take my word for it. I have a baggie with Swedish fish and Sour Patch together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the texture. I love that texture.
Yeah. Yeah. Have you ever tried them together though? You put one of each in your mouth.
Oh, I might have to go and get some now.
Yeah, seriously, it really is good. It really is good.
They've brought Sour Patch Kids to the UK market, but they've been rebranded under a British sweet manufacturer that make.
Oh, I see.
They make. Have you ever heard of wine gums?
No.
So they're a bit like in America. I think you get American hard gums.
I don't know what that would be. Is it gummy candy or hard, like a lozenge, like a butterscotch drop, or?
No, they're a soft. They're firmer than a they're firmer than a Sour Patch, chewier.
But chewy, okay.
Yeah.
Mm.
But they're called, I don't actually know, they're called wine gums because they're all of the different sweets are, they've got like a print on them of different flavors of different brands of wine. So like you'll get the red ones in them will say Merlot on them, and then
I see, yeah.
but they don't have wine in them or anything. I
Right,
don't
but it's
understand
just the flavor.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
But,
probably a big deal for kids, thinking they're
Yeah,
getting something.
But they the company that make those have basically bought the UK rights to Sour Patch.
Gotcha.
They come in exactly the same packaging. They do
Yeah.
not taste anything like a Sour Patch Kid, though. I am completely betrayed by them.
Really? I wonder why they do that.
They're more of a texture of. Do you get sugar-coated gummy bears?
Yes.
Yeah. So the English version of Sour Patch Kids, which come in the same packaging as American ones, but they're not made by the same people.
Okay.
More like a sugar-covered gummy bear.
So it's trickery.
It's not a Sour Patch Kid.
No.
I mean, they're nice, don't get me wrong, but they're not Sour Patch Kids.
Yeah.
And
We want Sour Patch.
Yeah. See, my mum, whenever she goes on holiday, she always, if she goes to the States, I say to her, you have to bring me back Sour Patch.
Sure. Yeah, I have a friend and her mom lives in England, and her mom will send her a package a couple of times a year. And the lemon drops, oh my land, you can get lemon drops over here. They are not the same thing. And then what was the other thing? There was one that was totally disgusting from last time. It was lime with chocolate over it or something. I was like,
oh,
whoa.
chocolate lime. Yeah, they're lime with chocolate in the middle.
Well, no, this had, yeah, it was like a hard candy with
a, yeah,
it was lime, like a hard lime candy. And
a chocolate eclair sweet is like that.
Is it? Huh.
That's toffee with chocolate in the middle.
Yeah. I don't know, but that lime chocolate thing did not do it for me. First off, my first thought was, why would anyone put those two together? But it's just because I'm not used to seeing it. You know, it's not anything that we get over
They're not
here.
very commonly eaten here anymore.
Yeah, I can imagine so, because I thought they were terrible. I put one in my mouth and I'm thinking, oh, I can eat this. And I was halfway through and I spit it into a paper towel and I said, no, no.
They taste a bit like toilet cleaner.
And you know this how? When
Only
people use those sayings, I always say that. I apologize. Okay. So, you know, I was thinking this morning, you know, what will we find to talk about? We're not having a problem with that. But I did think of something. Can you think of something you've made that you would never make again because either it turned out horrible or you had such a hard time with it or you just detested making it? Nothing like putting you on the spot, right?
See, I'm really, really one of these people that if something was difficult, and it wound me up, I will do it again because I won't let it beat me.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Nah. See, I'll chuck it and say never again.
I'm not sure. I'm sure there has been things in the past that I've made and I will never make again, but I just can't think of them. But
well, what about a technique? Is there a technique that you don't like to use?
Applique.
What's that?
Applique.
Applique. Oh my God, I love it. See, differences. Yeah, I love applique personally, but that's what makes us all different.
I've done it in the past. I've made wall hangings that the whole entire wall hanging is applique.
Yeah, yeah.
I'd never do it again.
The worst thing for me, when I first started quilting, I had a book, and like I said, it was the late 80s. I did not have internet, and I think the people who did have internet, I don't even think there was much there. But I had a little book called Let's Make a Patchwork Quilt. So before that, all I had ever made for quilts was like those pre-printed panels that I put batting and backing and then a binding, and that's what I started with, okay? And so I started with a sampler quilt, because why wouldn't someone just start with a sampler quilt, right? Really
Yeah.
long idea. And someone saw the sampler quilt and asked me where I come up with the idea, and I showed them the book, and they said, could you make me a quilt? I'll pay you. And I said, sure, what would you like? And they went through the book and they saw a pattern and they showed it to me, pointed it out to me, and stupidly I said, sure, I can do that. And the block was called A Drunkard's Path. With the circle, you know what I'm talking about.
There's one up there.
Yeah. So it's not a beginner-friendly quilt block,
No.
let alone if you've got to make 12 of them.
Well, this was supposed to be a quilt, and at the moment it's just one block.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Very nice.
You have to foundation paper piece each quarter semicircle here.
Yeah.
Then you do the drunkard's path curved corner.
Up there, yeah.
And then I stupidly thought it'd be a really good idea to put 4 of them together and just create a circle for the middle rather than the quarter semicircle thing.
Sure. Well.
And I thought I'll make a whole quilt out of those blocks.
Mm-hmm.
And that's as far as I've got the one.
But it looks very nice as a wall hanging. It really does.
But it's actually pinned onto another wall hanging there.
Oh, I see. And what's the story on that one?
Well, I've just not got around to making it into its own thing.
I see. Okay.
So it's just pinned on top of another one just to keep it flat and hanging nice.
I see. Ooh, I almost had that upside down from just chatting and not paying attention. That would not have been nice.
Do you have a lot of orphan blocks?
I do. Only because I am in a scrap quilt swap group. And we swap blocks that are all scrappy, as the name implies.
Mm-hmm.
And so I have a lot that I haven't made into quilts. The biggest reason for that is that not everyone sews the same. So if you trade with someone, they mail you 2 blocks every month and you mail them 2 blocks, but maybe they used a 3mm stitch length, or their tension is off and the block is not really sewn together well, and you're left wondering what you're going to do with it. So that has happened to me. And I have to try to wonder if maybe if I put them together, if I quilt it enough, the stitches will stay together, or because you can't go restitch a crumb block.
No.
You just can't. But I do have quite a few orphan blocks that I made as well, and I think it's time to just bite the bullet, put them into a quilt, and call it a day.
See, I have a question for you. Would you think it was absolutely bananas to make a quilt for an animal?
No. Why wouldn't you? I guess would be my question. I think that's a very nice idea, and I'm sure they'd appreciate it.
Obviously, you know Luna, she's popped up enough videos.
Yes.
She is obsessed with, if you do the laundry and you take the stuff out of the dryer and put it into a basket, she stands there like this, frantic, until you put it on the floor, and then she's in it.
She can wait on it.
And me and my husband say that she does her spatchcock impression, because she spatchcock chickens on the and tries to get as much of her underside heated as possible in one go.
Yeah.
And she slugs her chin onto it as well.
Aww.
So she can get as much contact with the heat as possible. And I just thought she would love a quilt.
She probably would, but before we go back to that conversation, the next time she does that, take a little video. I would love to see that. That would warm my heart. I would love that. But yeah, why not? We lost our pug, Eddie, a couple years ago. He passed away, but he had his own little bed, and I actually have it cut out. He didn't get his quilt, but I was going to make him a quilt.
Yeah.
Because he loved all that soft stuff. So I say, why not? And they might not be able to talk to us, but I bet you that she would love that, Adam.
I think she would. I think she would appreciate it.
Yeah, I think she would.
As appreciative as a dog can be.
Well, yeah, but I think you'd know it. You'd know her happiness because I'm sure you know her moods.
Oh yeah, you can see. This is the thing. People that aren't animal friendly, or people that animals just aren't their thing, which is fine. Everyone's welcome to their opinion.
Sure.
I think sometimes people don't understand the connection that you can have with an animal.
I agree. I agree.
And I was a bit like that before I ever had a dog. I sort of couldn't understand how someone could be so upset about losing, say, a hamster.
Yeah.
Because to me, it just seemed, how could you be that attached to a small
non-person? Yeah.
But I think it's dependent, isn't it, on what relationship you build with that animal. I don't think it matters whether it's a dog or a horse or a cat or.
It doesn't. It really doesn't. I agree. I agree. And you know, it's we've had pets throughout the time we were raising our kids, and you know, we had dog Abby for 18 years. We had her. And our pug Eddie, we had him for about 7 years before he passed. But when we would get home from being gone, say we went shopping, when we got home, he was waiting at the door with that little pug butt wiggling back and forth, just excited and prancing. And you know, it's been 2 years, and when I open that door, I expect him to be there still.
Yeah. I completely.
You just,
No,
they're such a part of our lives.
they are. So yeah, maybe that's sealed it. I might have to just make her a quilt and bite the bullet, or I could make her a quilt out of orphan
Yeah,
blocks.
just don't let her pick her own fabric. You pick.
No. Yeah. So you were saying about what have I done that's the one thing that I would never do, and you said yours was the drunkard's path.
Yeah.
So what made you think, yeah, that's fine, I'll do that at the beginning when someone selected that for you?
I was young and stupid. I don't know. I have no excuse other than, you know, when you're really young, you have all this confidence. I can do that. Sure, I can do that. Because I had done a couple of blocks that I thought looked difficult, but they ended up being fairly straightforward and easy. So I thought, well, I've done everything else in that book that I've tried. Why wouldn't I be able to do that? And circles look fun.
Yeah.
Sure.
It is. I think it is one of those things, isn't it? I think when it's that risk-taking thing that kicks in, isn't it? When you're younger, risks are just so like off the cuff, aren't they?
Adrenaline. Let's go.
Yeah.
Sure.
And then as you get older, you're a lot more conscious of things that could go wrong.
You are. Yeah, you're a lot more hesitant about things, or at least I am. You know, I was thinking we've been doing all this chatting, and we're going to each be sharing this with our own subscribers. Some of my subscribers subscribe to your channel, which is great because I do like to tell them about you. But I was thinking it might be nice for those who don't know who either one of us, like your subscribers who don't know who I am, or vice versa. We should tell them a bit about our channels. So if you would like to start, you could tell people what you do on your channel.
So I mainly post on a Friday, and I post under the hashtag Friday Sews, which was a hashtag set up by Jen, and it is a hashtag that allows people just to do a weekly catch up of what they've been up to that week, really. And I also have some tutorials for a couple of different things. my aim will be eventually to have some more tutorials, some more pattern reviews and things as well.
Okay. Yeah, pattern reviews sound awesome.
As you are fully aware, anything that's tutorial based is there's a lot more that goes into it than people think.
There really is, yeah. Not just in the making of it, the editing of the video as well.
That's the thing, isn't it? And 9 times out of 10, when you do a tutorial, you have to make that thing in the tutorial more than once, sometimes maybe more than twice.
Absolutely. I'm getting ready for it's just a simple, straightforward braided table runner. I'm going to make that today so that we can make it together for Sunday. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because even if you've made it before, like for me, if it's been a while, I need to go over it in my head so I remember the steps in order.
Yeah.
So you are 100% correct.
So how would you summarize your channel, Marie? What would you say your channel is about, and what made you start your channel?
Okay, well, I actually started the channel because I had been saying to my husband for quite a while, you know, I have a lot of scraps, because I do. After years of making quilts, you have all those cut-offs and cast-off pieces of fabric. Mm-hmm. And I thought, you know, I like to make things other than quilts. I like to sew other things. And then I thought, I wonder how many different things you can sew with scraps. And that's where the idea came from. So I challenged myself, how many different items could I make with just scraps? Mm-hmm. It would be pretty and usable, you know, fully functional or whatever. And wouldn't it be fun to have a YouTube channel? And I expected that I might get 100 subscribers if I was lucky. And it just kind of grew from there. And I actually have had people leave my channel because they were angry that I didn't do just quilt.
It's bizarre, isn't it?
It is. It's Scrappy Creations. So if a person has scraps, and the definition of scraps is totally, it depends on who you are and how you think of a scrap.
Oh, 100%.
Because a scrap, like, let's pretend that you think of a scrap as anything under 1/4 of a yard. To me, a scrap is anything under 6 or 8 inches. Mm-hmm. You know, so everyone's definition can be different, but I just concentrate on Scrappy Creations and making fun things and teaching people really basic techniques. I haven't done any curved zippers. The whole idea was to start out simpler, start out really basic on my channel. I do have quite a few beginners, but there's nothing wrong with that. We all start somewhere. And I'm going to grow in the direction I want to grow in is to continue with the tutorials, but they're going to step up to intermediate by next year. Yeah. I'm going to add in, I'm going to go a little less on the tutorial and about once a month do kind of a sew along where I say, okay, I purchased this pattern from such and such. This is what you need. Come sew it with me. That's how I see myself growing.
Yeah. I think that's a good plan.
Thank you. Thank you. Kind of like taking them along with me on the learning, you know, like you've got that down pat, now let's try this.
Yeah. The thing is as well with that is it allows people to go back and watch your previous content. If they stumble across your channel in a year's time and you're a year further progressing with the level of skill it takes to do the projects that you're up to at that point, they can always go back and watch stuff that you filmed 2-3 months ago.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, YouTube is like, how is it? I don't mean it in the way that it's going to come out. The gift that keeps on giving, but it's a learning gift because you can go back through anything and find out. But one of the best things I don't know about you, but one of the best things for me about having started the channel, besides all the people I have met, and there are so many wonderful people out there, is the feeling when you teach someone something and you know that they're proud of themselves and they're happy. There is no other feeling like that in the world.
Oh, there is no. There's nothing like feeling proud of yourself for something that you've achieved.
That's right. So
and
like if someone puts in their first zipper and they, they're 65 years old and they put in their first zipper because I looked at the camera and said, I'm going to be with you through every step. Just follow what I do. You can do this. And they do it. And they say, I lived my whole life scared to do that. Now look at what I can make.
Exactly.
That's
it's brilliant thing to be able to provide someone with.
Yeah, because you know that they're proud of themselves and that they're happy. And if you can make people happy, then that's what it all comes down to. All the effort and time.
I couldn't agree more.
Yeah. So what's your favorite part of being a YouTube creator?
Oh, good question.
Pop that one in on you now, didn't I, Adam?
Yeah, I love the community feel from YouTube, because
yes,
with putting something out there that's specific, like what we do, that is specific to the sewing community.
Exactly.
It's that whole, I don't want to sound cliche, but it's that whole finding your tribe thing, isn't it?
It
and
is.
You find people that have the same interests as you. And I don't know about you, but most people I know that have got the same interests as us, their family, their husbands, their children, their dogs, their next door neighbors are sick of hearing about it.
But we provide them that place to talk about it and to,
exactly.
Yes, I agree with that 100%. Yeah.
And when your machine is playing silly, and you've been angry and screaming at it for 3 hours because the bobbin keeps getting wrapped up, or you keep getting thread nests, or it keeps snapping needles.
Sure.
No one understands you like a sewer does.
That's right, because they've been there. Someone else might say, oh, just walk away, just leave it alone. No, I want it to work.
Yeah, and I want to finish this project that I'm working on.
Good day. Yes, absolutely. I agree, Adam. That's perfect. And it is, I think, YouTube has given us an avenue to express ourselves. And everyone's channel is a bit different. Like say you and I made just that pattern like that you're working on. Everybody should put their own spin on things. I'm a true believer in that. Make it your own. Do something, change it up, or do something to make it your own. But no two people are going to do something exactly alike, nor should they. No. It should reflect their personality in some way. But yes. Well, this has been fun. I'm sure we should wrap it up because we're probably been chatting forever, and I don't think we'll bore anyone because I thought it was a pretty good chat. I had fun.
Yes, same.
Yes. So, well, thank you, Adam. I appreciate it. I'm glad that we got together to do this. This has been fun. And I hope all of you out there have enjoyed Adam and I. We are going to leave our links down below in the description box. So if you're one of my subscribers, please go check out Adam. And every Friday, as he said, he does a hashtag Friday Sews. You'll be impressed.
Yeah. And if you're watching from my channel and you've never seen Marie before, head over to her channel. She puts up videos on Wednesdays, which is her live What's Up Wednesdays. Sunday's tutorial day, and she pops up every now and then just to make you smile in the evenings whenever she feels like throughout the week. I
didn't tell him this. He knows this from memory. We didn't practice anything. Thank you, Adam, for knowing that. I appreciate that you know my schedule. Thank you.
Yeah. And if you live in the UK and you're an insomniac, it's the best channel.
Thank you. I'm always impressed, as are my friends who I talk to who also follow you. We are always impressed with how much you do in a week. Like We don't know if you have, like, you know, in the Cinderella movie, those fairies that come and they sew in the night. We don't know what you do or how you get that much sewn, but you're very impressive, I must say. So, but thank you for the get together. It's been wonderful. And thank you everyone out there for watching us. So we'll say goodbye. Thank
See you
you
soon,
for watching.